Craig, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Started the morning by hearing Larry and the other Larry.
Fair enough. It's ironic a little bit because we are all sitting in the Craig Newmark Theater, and you are sitting at home.
Right now I'm in San Francisco. I've been listening to Larry the Coyote and also Larry the Raccoon. But you are in what I call the me auditorium.
Fantastic. So obviously you're very well known for your philanthropic efforts. You've supported military veterans, you built this hall, but lately you've been turning your attention towards cybersecurity threats. And I just got to say, how did you find that as a cause? Why did that strike you as something that needed your attention?
Three things intersected after some decades. In 1975 at school, I did work on cybersecurity. That happened again in 94 at Charles Schwab. In parallel, increasingly, I've gotten interested in military families and vets. That was a big thing. And this whole idea of patriotism. How do you protect the country? Because the third effect was I started thinking a lot about what my parents did in World War II. So the theme is now, how do we work together to protect the country? This is particularly true in light of the observation that our foreign adversaries are already attacking our infrastructure, particularly water and electricity. And I've read a lot of science fiction over the years, and so I'm way aware of what bringing down our water and power supplies could do to us.
So you recently pledged $100 million for cybersecurity. What do you hope to do with that money? How do you want it to be spent?
I screwed up and I kept failing to mention that was the second $100 million contribution, because the first $100 million, which was expected to last until 2026, it's spent. So the big thrust of the effort is to enlist all Americans into helping each other protect ourselves, our families, our homes, and then to do what we can to help protect infrastructure, like I say, particularly water and electricity, because those systems are very vulnerable, already coming under attack. And I'm no Paul Revere, but somebody's got to play that role, saying that we are in trouble, and that's only increasing.
Yeah, except this time I don't think we have to worry about the British so much. Thank you. So it's interesting. You're the founder of Craigslist, and your approach to security is also a network-based approach, a grassroots approach. Can you talk a little bit about how you see that playing out and what you think this network needs to do in order to protect the country?
Well, you're right about the approach. Starting from first principles, I realize that I'm not all that smart, not in the ways I need to be to lead an effort. I can lead by example, but I'm not good at top-down stuff. So what I'm building with a lot of help is a network of networks to do what's needed. Two big thrusts. One is, how do we acquire and recommend tools so that regular people can protect themselves, their homes, and their families? The other one is, how do we assemble a network of volunteers who really know what they're doing to help small utilities protect their infrastructure? The deal being is that the people who are really good at this are already volunteering, which is great, because if they charge for their time, government and utilities couldn't afford them. So doing those two big things while asking everyone to remember, like in World War II, everyone has a role to play. Again, that puts me in the uncomfortable position of being Paul Revere, which mostly means I've started to piss off utility staffs across the country.
So tell some stories about that, because I think you're pushing back against some entrenched systems here. What is the thing that surprised you most as you started to do this type of work?
The pleasant surprise is that people everywhere want to do a better job, and sometimes there's management reluctance. The lawyers are there. There are policy people and lobbyists can be in the way. The idea is to basically go to them and work with them. Tomorrow, I fly to Washington for an exercise. The focus is military families, but it's a lot of the same people. I should mention, when I talk about protecting the country, this also means working with the people who've sacrificed a lot to protect the country, particularly military families and vets, because military families don't get paid enough to provide food and housing for their families. So we need to pay a lot of attention to that.
Yeah, and I think also we've talked about how those military families are also part of the cybersecurity solution, where they're volunteering, they're lending their efforts. Can you talk a little bit about trying to activate them and connect them with all these utility companies?
Well, the start has to do with two efforts training people. There's something called Vets for Tech, which is about training vets and their spouses for technology jobs, including Salesforce work and cybersecurity in particular. For active service military, there's a program called SkillsBridge, comes out of Department of Defense, and it has to do with placing active service members while they're being paid at companies where they can better learn their skills and presumably get hired right away. Both are a big deal because there are hundreds of thousands of open cybersecurity positions.
Can you talk a little bit about, at this point, I of course know you as the founder of Craigslist. It's there, your name is right in there. But I think that newer generations will really remember you for your philanthropy and for your philanthropic work. Can you talk a little bit about what your approach is to philanthropy? How do you pick your causes? How do you allocate the money, and how do you prioritize?
Currently, the way it works is acknowledging my limitations. I've built a significant network of networks of people who are really good at things, and then I can get advice from them. Beyond that, I wing it. In philanthropy, I have the major advantage of not knowing what I'm doing, so I have to get help all the time. A lot of this requires social skills, and like I say, when I talk about being a nerd, I am the real deal. In the late 60s, I wore a plastic pocket protector and thick black glasses taped together. That was me.
So, at the same time, you're building this network of networks that's an inherently social activity. Craigslist is a precursor to a lot of the social media we have today. Like, what tools do you use to maintain that network? Are you just on a lot of email threads?
Mostly, I just talk to people however I can. In person, online, through different social media sites. And a lot of it just means we're just need events to work together. Today in San Francisco, there's going to be an event about networks of networks to help people with cybersecurity. Late tomorrow, I go to Washington. On Thursday, there's a big event for Blue Star families at Union Station. And among the honorees will be Don Bacon, a Republican from Nebraska, and then also Chrissy Houlihan, who's she's a Democratic congressman.
So, that brings me to this point where I think we've alluded to it a couple of times today, but, we're standing in Civic Hall. I think we all know that the next couple of years are going to be a real challenge for our civic institutions and our civil society. At the same time, you've kept pushing the ball forward and made yourself engaged, made yourself useful, made your money help the people who needed it most. Is there anything you can tell the audience here in terms of how to stay motivated over the next couple of years?
I'm not good at motivational speaking. In fact, I suck at it.
That's a tall order, I know.
This is going to be based on everyone. Yeah, everyone needs to work with each other and help each other out and stay focused. Do what you're really good at. I see an imperative, an emergency when it comes to cybersecurity, because I know, well, already our foreign adversaries are attacking our infrastructure. That's a big deal right there. So I'm trying to stay focused where I can do some real help. I actually kind of gave up on politics some years ago. People keep talking using phrases like liberal and conservative, which I think are frankly bullshit terms. The idea is that I find good people who are doing good work and I support that. Slowly, I start to do other things. In particular, I've started working on AI for customer service. That might become a thing for me. Aside from that, now and then there'll be a personal indulgence. When I talk about pigeon rescue, I'm not only joking, I'm also serious.
All right. You know what? I want to be respectful of your time, but you opened the door, so I want to know about pigeon rescues.
Very briefly, I love birds, and I may have a sense of humor. So a pigeon rescue combines both. But here in San Francisco, we even have bird feeders up. And even as we speak, I see a lot of little birds flitting around.
Well, amen to that. Craig, thanks so much for taking the time, dialing in. I really appreciate it. Hopefully next time we'll see you in person.
Agreed. And do remember that a nerd's got to do what a nerd's got to do.
True words. Thank you, sir.
Take care.